Today's stunning reversal comes as the Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled that the prosecutor who brought the case was bound by his predecessor's agreement not to charge Cosby. So here to look into that further, explain what that really means and what, if anything, comes next is legal expert Joe Marrone. Thanks for joining us today, Joe.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Glad to be speaking with you today. This is such a complex case that's been going on for so long. So there's reportedly no evidence that this promise was made years ago that Cosby would not be charged, and yet that's what today's major decision, this reversal, was based on. How do you explain that?
Well, I think Cosby won on the law, right? They reverted back to when Castor was investigating the case back in 2005. He thoroughly went through the case. There wasn't really sufficient evidence to prosecute Cosby. You got to remember, he was an icon and even bigger back then. So if you're going to prosecute somebody at that level, you want to make sure that you have a compelling case. It wasn't there, and he made a public announcement that he wasn't going to prosecute. But the underlying reason why he did it was to give Andre Constant some relief under the law, which was through civil remedies. So they basically allowed Cosby to testify in depositions where he would incriminate himself. So since he relied on the fact that Castor said, hey, we're not going to prosecute, you can waive your Fifth Amendment right, he moved forward and complied with the civil case and went into a deposition and gave incriminating statements, which ultimately became the linchpin to get him arrested and potentially convicted.
It's just fascinating that the agreement was reportedly made with Andrea Constant in mind. I guess hindsight is 20/20. Part of that agreement is also reportedly that he is barred from any further conviction, that there's no chance that he will have to face charges again in the future. So is that true to you? Is this whole chapter in Cosby's life officially over?
That is correct. The Supreme Court basically put Cosby to where he would have been when he relied on Castor's agreement that he wouldn't prosecute criminally. That's where he went back to. So at the end of the day, the state can do nothing at this time. You know, if you want to take a look at the case, did the victim get any relief or any pound of flesh? Well, he served time in jail. He lost his reputation, but he's not going to be prosecuted criminally. He cannot be prosecuted criminally. In fact, he may have a civil claim against the state, but that's a whole other issue. And the interesting thing in this case, which everybody thought was going to be a hot issue, which was a hot issue, was allowing all the other witnesses to testify against them. They didn't rule on that because obviously this trumped that, and that issue became moot. But it was very prejudicial in this case, and that's what I thought was going to happen in this case. I thought it was going to be remanded for a new trial because the trial judge allowed too many witnesses to testify who experienced similar situations, such as Ms. Constant.
And that's a wrap. All right. Joe Marrone, thank you so much for joining us.
You got it.